Hi, good day. I am Sean Kenneth V. Rosaroso, and today I am going to disseminate an informative speech about communication. Stay tuned. According to Tony Robbins, communication is power. Those who have mastered its effective use can change their own experience of the world and the world's experience of them. All behavior and feelings find their original roots in some form of communication. The root of the word communication in Latin is communicare, which means to share or to make common. Communication is defined as the process of understanding and sharing meaning. At the center of our study of communication is the relationship that involves interaction between participants. This definition serves us well with its emphasis on the process, which we'll examine in depth across this text, coming to understand and share another's point of view effectively. The first keyword in this definition is process. A process is a dynamic activity that is hard to describe because it changes. During the process of communication, your perspective might change and you might watch your words more closely. The feedback or response from whom you are talking with may cause you to reevaluate what you are saying. When we interact, all these factors and many more influence the process of communication. The second key word is understanding. To understand is to perceive, interpret, and to relate our perception and interpretation to what we already know. If a friend tells you a story about falling off a bike, what image comes to your mind? Now, the friend points out the window and you see a motorcycle lying on the ground. Understanding the words and the concepts or objects they refer to is an important part of the communication process. Next comes the word sharing. Sharing means doing something together with one or more people. You may share a joint activity as when you share in compiling a report, or you may benefit jointly from a resource as when you and several coworkers share a moment. In communication, sharing occurs when you convey thoughts, feelings, ideas, or insights to others. You can also share with yourself, a process called intrapersonal communication. When you bring ideas to consciousness, ponder how you feel about something, or figure out the solution to a problem and have a classic aha moment when something becomes clear. Finally, meaning is what we share through communication. The word bike represents both a bicycle and a short name for a motorcycle. By looking at the context the word is used in and asking questions, we can discover the shared meaning of the word and understand the message. In order to better understand the communication process, we can break it down into a series of 8 essential components. The first one is the source or the sender, the one who imagines, creates, and sends the message. In a public speaking situation, the source is the person giving the speech. He or she conveys the message by sharing your information with the audience. The speaker also conveys a message through his or her tone of voice, body language, and choice of clothing. The speaker begins by first determining the message, what to say and how to say it. The second step involves encoding the message by choosing just the right order or the perfect words to convey the intended meaning. The third step is to present or send the information to the receiver or audience. Finally, by watching for the audience reaction, the source perceives how well they receive the message, responds with clarification or supporting information. Next is message. The message is the stimulus or meaning produced by the source for the receiver or audience. When you plan to give a speech or write a report, your message may seem to be the only words you choose that will convey your meaning. But that is just the beginning. The words are brought together with grammar and organization. You may choose to save your most important point for last. The message also consists of the way you say it in a speech. With your tone of voice, your body language, and your appearance, and in a report with your writing style, punctuation, and the headings and the formatting you choose. Next is channel. The channel is the way with which a message or messages travel between source and receiver. For example, Think of your television. How many channels do you have on your television? Each channel takes up some space, even in digital world, in the cable or in the signal that brings the message of each channel to your home. Television combines an audio signal you hear with visual signal you see. Together, they convey the message to the receiver or audience. Similarly, when you speak or write, you are using a channel to convey your message. Spoken channels include face-to-face conversations, speech, telephone conversations, and voicemail messages, radio, public address systems, and voice-over Internet protocol. Written channels include letters, memorandums, purchase orders, invoice, newspapers, and magazine articles, blogs, email, text, messages, tweets, and so on. Next is the receiver. The receiver receives the message from the source or the sender. The receiver is the one who analyzes and interprets the message in ways both intended and unintended by the sender. Next is feedback. When you respond to the sender, intentionally or unintentionally, you are giving feedback. Feedback is composed of messages the receiver sends back to the source or the sender, verbal or non-verbal. All these feedback signals allow the source to see how well, how accurately the message was received. Next is environment. The environment is the atmosphere, physical and psychological, where you send and receive messages. The environment can include the tables, chairs, lighting, and the sound equipment that are in the room. The environment can also include factors like formal dresses that may indicate whether a discussion is open and caring or more professional and formal. Context. The context of the communication interaction involves the setting, seat, and expectations of the individuals involved. A professional communication context may involve businesses that directly or indirectly influences expectations of language and behavior among the participants. Context is all about what people expect from each other, and we often create those expectations out of environmental cues. Traditional gatherings like weddings are often formal events. Interference, also called noise, can come from any source. Interference is anything that blocks or changes the source intended meaning of the message. For example, car horns, radios, any conventional that can affect communication. Other than that, our psychological noises is what happens when your thoughts occupy your attention while you are hearing or reading a message. Interference can come from other sources too. Perhaps you are hungry and your attention to your current state interferes with your ability to listen. And there are so many more factors that affect that communication. Communication is a key to your success in relationships, in the workplace, as a citizen of your country, and across your lifetime. Your ability to communicate comes from experience, and experience can be an effective teacher. But these texts and the related business communication course will offer you a wealth of experiences gathered from professional speakers across their lifestyle. You can learn from the lessons they've learned to be more effective communicator right out of the gate. Thank you.